Three terrifying school lockdown stories reveal the shocking reality of danger on campus. In one, a mentally unstable man breaks into a high school, screams violent threats, and pounds on classroom doors before vanishing without a trace. In another, students are trapped in a lunchroom as a nearby sex offender threatens suicide and police violence. His disturbing past only adds to the horror. The final story follows a computer intern hiding in the school basement during a lockdown, only to discover he's face to face with the armed intruder who just shot a teacher upstairs. Each story captures the raw fear and chaos of a school lockdown turned nightmare. The girl behind the locker door. It was my sophomore year in high school, and I still remember the day everything changed. Not because of something obvious, like a fire drill gone wrong or a fight in the cafeteria, but because of what happened during a lockdown that still gives me nightmares. That morning had started off completely normal. It was late October, and you could feel the chill creeping into the hallways. The heater in our school barely worked, so everyone was bundled up even inside the building. First period was English, and I remember Mrs. Layton was reading aloud from the Crucible. I was half asleep as usual. Then, over the loudspeaker, the principal's voice rang out. "Attention staff and students, we are going into lockdown. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Just like that, everyone froze. Mrs. Layton moved fast. She turned off the lights, told everyone to move to the far corner of the room, and locked the door. We sat in silence. It was the kind of silence you can feel pressing down on your chest. We waited for 5 minutes. 10. Still no updates. Just silence. Then we heard something, or someone, moving through the hallway. Slow footsteps. They would stop for a moment, then start again. There was a scraping sound, like something metal being dragged across the floor. A few students started whispering prayers. I just tried to breathe without making a sound. Then, suddenly, the footsteps stopped. Right outside our classroom. There was a faint knock. Not loud, not frantic. Just deliberate. Then another. Mrs. Layton held her finger to her lips. We were all holding our breath. Then the door handle started rattling. It wasn't someone trying to barge in, more like they were toying with it. Turning it back and forth, slowly, rhythmically. Someone near me let out a whimper. And that's when we heard the whisper. "Let me in." It was a girl's voice, a teenager's. Soft, muffled through the door. Mrs. Layton didn't respond. None of us moved. "Please," the voice said again. "I'm stuck." That's when my friend Tara whispered to me, "That's weird. It sounds like she's crying." It did, but something was off. There was no panic, no urgency. The voice sounded almost detached, like she was repeating lines from a script. We sat frozen as the voice went silent. Then, just as suddenly, the sound of footsteps returned, faster this time, fading away down the hall. An hour later, the lockdown was lifted. The principal came back on the intercom, saying there had been a threat in the neighborhood. Something about a home invasion near the school. They found the suspect, but details were vague. He said everyone was safe and classes would resume after lunch. But here's where things got weird. Later that day, in the girls' locker room, one of the gym teachers found a locker, number 143, wide open. Inside, it was completely empty, except for a single pair of old black and white saddle shoes. Not part of the uniform, not something students wore. And there was something else. Scratched into the inside of the metal locker door were the words, "Let me in." Over and over again, carved dozens of times in what looked like a nail or key. The weirdest part? The locker had been sealed shut for years after a renovation, and no one had been assigned to it. Rumors spread fast. Some said it was a prank. Others said the voice we heard had been a recording from some disturbed student who dropped out years ago. But the one that stuck with me, the one that still gives me chills, was from the janitor, Mr. Peters. He told one of the seniors that back in the early 90s, a girl named Melinda had disappeared during a school lockdown. They said she had gotten separated from her class and was never seen again. And guess what locker was hers? I don't know if it's true. No one's ever found proof. But I do know this. The following week, someone scratched the same words into the girl's bathroom mirror. Let me in, and no one ever found out who did it. Now every time there's a lockdown drill, I get this tight feeling in my chest, like someone's still out there, waiting behind a locker door, whispering. The disappearance. During the art fair. Every spring, my high school hosted a big event called the Spring Arts and Culture Fair. Students displayed their paintings, sculptures, photography, and performances in the gym and nearby hallways. Parents and local community members were always invited. It was the one day the school actually felt alive. Music, bright lights, colors, and so many people packed into the building. No one ever expected that such a lively event would end in a total lockdown and a disappearance. It happened during my junior year. I was part of the film club, and we had a short documentary screening in the auditorium that evening. I was standing at our display table with my friend Zane when the first strange thing happened. A woman walked up to us, not a parent, not a teacher, just off. She was probably in her 40s, wearing a beige coat way too warm for the season. Her hair was greasy, and she kept scanning the room like she was looking for someone, or hiding from someone. "Is this where they keep the winners?" she asked us, her voice raspy, like she hadn't spoken in days. Zane gave her a polite smile. This is just film club. The awards are being announced in the gym later." She didn't respond. She just stared past us, then turned and walked toward the side doors. We joked about it at first. Zane called her the ghost of PTA past, but something about her eyes stuck with me. Wide, desperate. 20 minutes later, we heard the sirens. 2 police cars pulled up outside, lights flashing. Someone screamed near the main entrance, then over the intercom. "Staff and students, initiate lockdown protocol immediately. This is not a drill." People started shouting. Parents looked confused. Teachers scrambled to get kids away from the doors. I followed my art teacher, Miss Park, along with a few others into the ceramics classroom. She locked the door and pulled the blinds. The room was dead silent except for the faint music still echoing from the gym. Someone had forgotten to turn off the speakers. 5 minutes passed, then 10. And then, we heard it. A girl's voice, faint, coming from the hallway, crying, "Please help me! Someone please!" Miss Park tensed. "Do not open that door," she whispered. "It could be a trick." We all froze as the voice continued. "I can't find my mom. Please." She sounded young, maybe a freshman, maybe younger. But something about the way she repeated the words, no panic, no fluctuation, felt wrong, like someone mimicking a child. That's when one of the seniors, Justin, reached for the door handle. "Don't," Miss Park said more forcefully. "Back away." Justin hesitated, but stepped back. Eventually, the voice stopped. We stayed locked down for nearly an hour. Eventually, the principal's voice came over the speaker. Students will remain in classrooms until escorted by law enforcement. Please remain calm. When the police finally entered our room and cleared us to leave, we found out what had happened. The woman we saw earlier had entered the building with a stolen staff badge from a nearby school. She had bypassed security by blending in with the crowd of parents and guests. She wasn't there to hurt anyone, that's what the police said. But she had a history of mental illness and had been reported missing by her family 3 days earlier. What shocked everyone wasn't just that she snuck in, it was what she left behind. Security footage showed her walking into a janitor's closet in the East Wing and never coming back out. When police searched the closet, it was empty, except for a plastic bag with a strange collection of items, a tattered stuffed rabbit, a disposable camera with no film, and an old student ID card from 2003, belonging to a girl named Rachel Gibbons. Rachel had disappeared from the same school 20 years earlier during a similar spring event. Her case had gone cold. The woman, still unidentified, was never found. The closet had no other exits, no trapdoors, no access vents large enough for a person to squeeze through. And yet she was gone. The scariest part: when security reviewed footage frame by frame, at one moment, just for half a second, they spotted something else in the corner of the frame, just behind the woman. A little girl, blurry, wearing a dress from another era, staring into the camera. After that, the school permanently canceled the Spring Arts and Culture Fair. No one ever talks about it openly, but those of us who were there still remember the girl's voice in the hallway, the stuffed rabbit, the locked closet, and that feeling that someone, or something, still walks the halls when the lights go out. The Basement Stranger. After graduating college, I landed a part-time tech internship at my old high school. It was surreal walking the same halls I'd roamed as a teenager, only now as staff. My office wasn't in the main building, though. It was tucked deep in the school's basement, an area most students didn't even know existed. The basement was a mix of disused classrooms, storage closets, and tech equipment. My little workspace, however, was a surprisingly cozy 3-desk office tucked behind a tangle of wires, server racks, and dusty boxes. It had 2 mini fridges, a flat-screen TV, and powerful air conditioning. Not bad for a school basement. My co-workers, Dave and Gary, both IT staff in their 40s, had worked at the school for years and often left me in charge when they had to be upstairs. That day, like many others, I was alone. It was just after lunch. I had my sandwich, chips, and soda, and was halfway through scrolling Reddit when my phone buzzed. It was a call from the front office. "Hi, we're initiating a lockdown. This is not a drill," the secretary said. "Lock all doors and stay put. Someone may be in the building." Before I could even ask questions, the line went dead. Adrenaline hit instantly. The problem was, my office didn't have a door, just a wide open frame. Worse yet, the door to the basement stairwell didn't lock either. It had been broken for years and never fixed. I turned off all the lights, dimmed my monitors, and crouched behind my desk. I texted Dave and Gary, asking if they were okay. No answer. The basement was silent. Heavy silence, the kind that makes your ears strain for any sound. 15 minutes passed. Then came the creak, the unmistakable sound of the heavy basement door opening. Footsteps followed, slow, uneven, almost dragging. They echoed faintly against the concrete walls, growing louder as they approached the office. I held my breath. My phone was still on the desk. I prayed it wouldn't buzz or make a sound. Whoever was walking didn't call out. No radio, no flashlight, no voice. Just slow, deliberate steps. They stopped just outside the open frame of the office. Then, silence. I ducked under the desk and curled in on myself, trying to stay hidden in the shadows. My heart was pounding in my ears. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. The vibration echoed like thunder in the silence. I cursed under my breath, clamping my hand over it. But it was too late. Footsteps shuffled into the office. They stopped inches away from the desk. I could hear the faintest breath. Someone was right there, just standing, listening. Then a voice. "It's okay," the man said softly. "I'm just hiding down here too." I froze. He crouched down. I could see his boots now, muddy, worn. His legs bent until his face was level with mine, but I still couldn't see anything clearly in the dark. "What's going on up there?" he asked. His voice was calm, too calm. I hesitated. Then I whispered, "Lockdown. Someone's in the school. Armed." He nodded. "I came to pick up my son. A teacher told me to get down here and stay quiet." Something about him felt off. His tone was too casual, too rehearsed. And then I remembered my phone. I slowly glanced at the screen. It was a message from Dave. "Dude, this is fucked. Some guy shot Mr. Buckley. Red plaid shirt, red black cap, armed. Do not come upstairs." I looked up. Red plaid, red black cap. My stomach dropped. I didn't say a word. I didn't even move. Just stared. He noticed. His eyes narrowed. "Something wrong?" I shook my head, but my body betrayed me. My legs shifted slightly, ready to run. He stood up slowly, reached into his coat. I didn't wait. I bolted from under the desk, knocking over the chair as I sprinted into the hallway. Behind me, I heard the deafening bang of a gunshot. The bullet ricocheted off the server rack near the wall, sending sparks flying. I didn't look back. I sprinted up the stairs, burst through the basement door, and ran down the hallway straight into the arms of 2 police officers. They stormed the basement and tackled the shooter the moment he reached the top. He was arrested on the spot. Mr. Buckley survived the shooting upstairs, but barely. He and the gunman had some kind of unresolved conflict, though no one ever shared the full details. All we knew was that the shooter had entered the school during pickup hours, bypassed the front desk, and somehow made it all the way down to the basement while armed. After that day, I quit. I never went back to that office. They offered counseling, even upgraded security. But none of it mattered to me. Because even now, I still hear that voice in the dark. "I'm just hiding with you."